do you want? A choice. A chance.
There's your chance. Take it.
Grateful.
The day will come when you won't be.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Back again with another throwback review. This is season 4, episode 8, entitled Too Far Gone. The episode starts out with the governor motivating his people to take over a nearby camp, the prison, for themselves. In a brief flashback, the governor is able to knock out Michonne from behind a tree and then holds Herschel at gunpoint. The governor explains that he captured 2 people from the prison so they can use them as leverage and possibly avoid killing anyone. Twisting the truth, he explains that the people from the prison are the ones that mutilated his eye, burned down his former camp, and killed his daughter. His entire camp agrees to take the prison for their own needs, but Tara and Lily are more reluctant. Lily walks out from behind a tree, having heard the whole thing, and she questions his motives. The governor repeats that most of the people in the prison are killers. She then asks him if she is with a killer, implying him. He tells her that his only concern is for her and Megan's safety. The governor then goes into an RV where he's holding both Michonne and Herschel and starts talking to them. He explains that he is using them to take the prison for himself so his family can live successfully. Michonne threatens to kill him, while Herschel tries to convince him that Rick's group and his group can live together in peace. The governor, however, thinks that is preposterous. The governor also adds that he does not intend to harm anybody and that their capture is just a means to force Rick's group out of the prison. Herschel asks him how he can threaten someone else's daughters since he had, once had one. He says cold-heartedly, because they're not mine. At a camp set up nearby the river are Lily and Megan and several other children and elderly people. She makes one last attempt to stop the governor from choosing to harm the others at the prison, which proves futile. The governor converses with and hugs Megan goodbye before she runs off to play in the mud. Back at the prison, Glenn and the other ill are recuperating. Glenn and Maggie share a moment, and Glenn teases her about their upcoming anniversary. Now knowing what had happened to Carol, Daryl becomes furious, and he tells Rick that he could have at least waited until he and his group returned before a decision was made. Rick explains that she still has a car and supplies, but Daryl is still upset, wondering what will happen to Lizzie and Mika. Rick adds that he couldn't bring Carol back to the prison because of Tyrese, who would kill Carol given the opportunity. When Rick claims that he hasn't told Tyrese yet, Daryl wants to find out how he will react, and the two leave to find him. Elsewhere, Bob contemplates a box on the floor possibly containing liquor, but hides it when Sasha arrives, who thanks Bob for helping her save her life. He defers, and it was all Herschel's work that saved her life. Tyrese then calls Rick and Daryl to the tombs, showing the remains of a dissected rabbit's body, which reminds them of the rats that were found by the fences. Tyrese believes that the person who killed Karen and David is the same person that left the dissected rabbit there. Rick disagrees, but when Rick is about to tell Tyrese about Carol, the prison is rocked by an explosion. Running outside, they find the governor standing on top of a tank, surrounded by an army of cars and survivors, armed to the teeth with heavy weapons. The governor demands that Rick come down to negotiate. Rick tries to refuse, stating that there is a council that makes the decisions now, but the governor then reveals he has Michonne and Herschel hostage, forcing Rick to come down and talk. The prison group prepares for possible fleeing, as they seemingly no longer have the numbers. They plan that if their defenses fail, they will get in the nearby bus and escape. The governor is quick to give Rick an ultimatum: leave the prison by sundown or he will kill Michonne and Herschel. Rick counters that they have several ill people and children, but his plea falls on deaf ears. Meanwhile, Daryl secretly begins handing out weapons and prepares for war. By the river, Megan is still playing in the mud. Lily sees a walker trying to cross the river, but gets swept away by the strong current. Megan digs out a flash flood warning sign. However, she loosens the dirt just enough so that a submerged walker is able to break through it. Lily runs to Megan's aid and shoots the walker, but not before it is able to infect her by biting her on her shoulder. The governor shoots several oncoming walkers, warning Rick that the sound will only draw more of them in and that they'll be forced to leave soon. Carl notifies to Daryl that he had a good shot on the governor, but Daryl tells him not to take it because it would start a war for the 3rd time, which they are obviously trying to avoid. Mika and Molly bring Judith out to put her on the bus, but Lizzie wants them to remember that Carol had taught them that She believes that they should help. Rick tells the governor that the prison could definitely be shared as per Herschel's advice. Not after Woodbury, not after Andrea, the governor responds, which seems to fill Michonne with fury. Rick maintains that his group isn't leaving, and just like the governor said, the battle between them will attract more walkers. When they come, they'll tear down the fences, and no one will be able to live in the prison. Infuriated, the governor jumps down from the tank and holds the katana that they got from Michonne to Herschel's neck, muttering that he will fix the damn fences. Rick asks Tara and the rest if a fight is truly what they want. I fought him before, and after we took in his old friends, they become leaders in what we have here. Now you put down your weapons, walk through those gates, and you're one of us. We let go of all of it, and nobody dies. Everyone who's alive right now. Everyone who made it this far. We've all done the worst kind of things just to stay alive, but we can still come back. We're not too far gone, Rick says. Herschel smiles, knowing that Rick has found what he had lost. We get to come back. I know we all can change, Rick continues. However, the governor mutters, liar, before slashing Michonne's katana down, partially decapitating Herschel. Beyond enraged, Rick and the prison inhabitants open fire while Carl manages to hit the governor in the arm. However, a bullet from the returning volley hits Rick in the thigh and drags himself behind the overturned bus for cover. Taking advantage of the situation, Michonne rolls away. She tackles one of the governor's men to the ground and strangles him with her boot before proceeding to attempt to untie herself. A still alive Herschel attempts to drag himself away, but the governor takes a katana and hacks Herschel's head off, to Beth and Maggie's horror. Tara is shocked by this brutal act as well. Just then, Lily pulls up in a car with Megan's corpse, witnessing the governor's act of murder. Upon seeing Megan's body, Philip becomes completely stoic. He takes Megan in his arms, shoots her in the head to prevent her from reanimating. Now, with nothing to fight for, he gives another order to his men. Go through the fences, in your cars, get your guns, we go in. Kill them all. Mitch, in the control of the tank, drives it straight through the fence and ultimately collapses it, destroying the crops in the process. The governor and some of his men use the tank for cover, while the rest attack and invade the prison, and cars and pickups. The Third War has officially begun. With the tank blasting holes on the prison's building walls, the inhabitants begin evacuating to the best of their ability. Maggie and Beth oversee the movement of the elderly in the inform to escape into the bus. Before Maggie runs back to the prison to grab Glenn, Rick jumps out from behind the overturned bus and attacks the governor, before engaging in a precarious fistfight with him. Maggie and Glenn both arrive at the bus, but Beth is missing, having also left to find Judith. She leaves a protesting Glenn on the bus, telling him to leave if she isn't back in time. The tank tears down the fence leading into the courtyard, pinning Daryl in a corner. Walkers wander in as well, as one of them attacks Daryl, who is focused on by the men. Rick and the governor are still fighting. The noise from the battle is drawing even more walkers outside the prison boundaries. Herds begin to pour in through the completely destroyed fences, interrupting the battle between the two groups. Daryl uses the walker that nearly bit him as an effective shield. He grabs it and proceeds towards the men. After he throws out a grenade, Tara runs off from behind the tank. Maggie runs into Sasha and Bob, who are pinned down as well. Bob is shot through the arm, but since there is an exit wound, it will most certainly be treated. The bus then leaves without them, and the three of them also leave. Tyrese is pinned down by Alicia and another soldier, but Lizzie and Mika arrive and shoot them both. Alicia is taking a detrimental shot to the head. Tyrese tells the children that they have to get out, and walkers begin to fill the whole courtyard. The children run in the direction of the prison while Tyrese chases after them, yelling they got to go in the opposite direction. Rick is overwhelmed by the governor, who pins him down and brutally beats him before preparing to choke him to death, but Michonne drives her katana through the governor's chest, ultimately impaling him and casts him aside and helps Rick up. He asks about Carl's whereabouts, but she is oblivious to where he is. Rick wholeheartedly goes off to find him. Michonne takes one last glance at the dying governor and decides to leave him to die in agony. Daryl takes out a few more walkers and manages to destroy the tank by throwing another grenade down the cannon barrel, forcing Mitch to get out, and was quickly put down by Daryl, who sends an arrow through his chest. He runs into Beth, who is unable to find Judith. She wants to keep looking, but Daryl tells her it's time to go. They then run away from the prison. A bloodied and bruised Rick stumbles back into the courtyard where a few walkers appear. They begin to walk towards him, but Carl shoots them in the head. They search for Judith, only to find a bloody baby carrier, which brings them to the conclusion that Judith is dead. Infuriated, Carl takes out his rifle and shoots a walker repeatedly down to his last shell, before cheerfully breaking down. The pair then limp off away from the prison, which has been overrun by hordes of walkers. Amongst the infected, a zombified Clara. Meanwhile, a dying the governor is still lying on the grass painfully, where Lily approaches him and shoots him in the forehead with his own gun, ending the governor once and for all. Carl and Rick walk away from the prison, Rick proclaiming, "Don't look back, Carl. Just keep walking," as more walkers steam through the destroyed ruins. The prison has become overrun, damaged beyond repair, as the episode comes to an end. Alright guys, that was my review for the Season 4, Episode 8, Too Far Gone, mid-season finale. Thanks for checking it out as always, and like, comment, most importantly subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Welcome to Woodburn.
Pushing our pants yet?